Hey, welcome to the virtual Local 303 meetup for the month of February. My name is Alicia Sweeney, the staffer responsible at Indy 1023 for putting this together each month. I'm so grateful y'all are here. Grateful for those that are watching the live stream right now, as well as our guests, these faces that you see here in the coolest Zoom call that you will check out all day long. We've been spotlighting these artists throughout the month of February, and the virtual meetup is our way to connect with them and get to know them better. These musicians from right here in Colorado. So hello to everyone. I'm so glad to meet you all face to face-ish. And I've got a co-host that's joining me today. Here's kind of how the Local 303 virtual meetup works. I've got Bruce Trujillo that's going to join me. We take turns chatting with each of our featured artists. And we want those that are watching the live stream to know that you can participate too. If you're on YouTube right now, you can leave a comment or submit a comment on our socials. If we see it, those messages will get passed on to us and we'll try and ask your favorite artist here. So not only are we doing interviews this hour, but Mawule is going to perform a single for us as well. So that'll be in about 30 minutes or less. I say, let's just get into it. First of all, hi, Bruce. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Alicia? I love these meetups and I'm so excited for this one today. And Mawule returning, we first met him like in UMS 2017. And that was the first time that he had performed for our radio station. So I'm excited for the return here in like 20 minutes.
So it's been summer 2017 since we've seen Mawule. Wow. What is time anyways? I forgot how long it was. So that's crazy to hear that. Bruce, with these meetups, we always ask our artists a question. We kind of choose a random question each month. And tell me this one. Here's what I think the question of the meetup should be. Who's an artist that you're really into right now that you think needs more support? And I'll start with you before we ask our artists.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, this was easy for me because I work for a radio station. And one of the shows that I get to do here each week is Especial, which is a full hour of all Latin-made music. And so an artist that I think people should know about, especially here in Denver, is the Mañanas. They just released their debut EP this past Friday called Cheers, and it is so good and it's so much fun. It's Danny, who we know from Naoma's band, and then his pal, and so they came together and made this amazing EP. So everyone go and check them out. They're amazing, I promise. And Alicia, who is yours?
Well, I was trying to think, and of course, I'm really into all the artists that we're featuring in the Local 303 for this month. So they've all been inspiring me. But I was trying to think outside of our community. I really like, and I know you do too, Bruce, Leslie Boo Grand out of Atlanta. I think they're doing really cool things musically right now. Tank and the Bangas have this new single called Self-Care that I love. It's on repeat at my house. And then also that Philly rapper, Tierra Whack, that song Only Child is another like banger from me right now. So those are my recommendations of who people need to be putting the spotlight on beyond Colorado.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we're going to be asking that question as well as getting to know our Local 303 artists a little more. So I think we should start, and up first, welcome to Zainab. Hey.
Hello, how's it going, everyone? How y'all doing?
We are good. I'm so excited to meet you. First of all, where are you at? It looks beautiful.
I'm in 5 Points. It's so nice outside, y'all. I don't know, but it's been not nice, so I had to come outside. But I'm in the 5 Points with my dear friend MTT.
Hi.
And I had to come outside for this. I thought I'd get a better vibe. So here we are.
I love it. Well, congrats on the new EP, Desert Season. It came out this past Friday, right?
Yeah, it did. Yes.
How's it feel now that it's out?
It's interesting. It was kind of it didn't exactly drop the way I wanted to. I went through a distributor, and he ended up posting a different version of the project. So I'm trying to take in the moment, but I'm also like, I want to make sure it's the product that I put all my heart and soul into to deliver. So it's bittersweet right now. I'm working on getting everything fixed. It's kind of taking longer than I thought, but note to independent artists, stay independent. Don't go through distributors. Keep your music in your hands. It's a good lesson for sure. But I'm still excited that the work is done. All the recording and the stress of like getting everything together is at least done now. So when it's ready, I'll be celebrating.
Right. Okay, so I want to hear about the journey of this EP because you traveled back to your home country of Sudan in Northern Africa. You went to Egypt, you went to Saudi Arabia for the first 7 months of 2020. Not to mention, you flew out there before a global pandemic hit, so you were quarantined in Saudi Arabia. Just kind of tell me the story of putting this EP together over this past year.
Yeah. So the end of last year, I actually, well, I guess 2019, I quit my job. I was just going through a whole identity crisis, like I do most every year, of like trying to balance, you know, my family being immigrants and like my home life being so reflective of the homeland, but then coming into, you know, the US was like a whole different experience. So I've always tried to kind of discover myself through music, through travel. So I quit my job, went to Sudan, gained a lot of knowledge, connected with a lot of artists, worked on really expanding into the multi-bilingual aspect of music. So I did a lot of writing there and started recording some things while I was in Sudan, recorded a piece in Egypt, recorded a piece in Saudi Arabia. So I kind of have a piece of every country in each song. And then Saudi Arabia was a total, I had some friends there that said, come hang out, we can do a live show for you. And it was a bunch of creatives. So I went to go see them. And then before I know it, it's pandemic and lockdown and my ticket got canceled and I can't come home. And I was just there for most of the year, just overseas, kind of like, I guess I asked for it. I wanted to discover myself and tap back in. So I really had to at that point.
Were you ever scared at all? Or were you just having such a good time that you weren't paying attention? Or
honestly, Saudi Arabia locked all the way down. Like the second it hit, everything was like 24-hour lockdown. You couldn't leave the house. So that was terrifying because it was like, that was not a country I ever really imagined to go to. Like maybe religiously it has a different kind of spiritual meaning, but just to go hang out was never on my bucket list. So like, let me just go, especially just being a very radical woman. Like, I'm very like, you know, radical when it comes to the system and everything. So it was definitely different. And I think that was the kind of scary part of it, was like just the unknown, not knowing what this corona was, not knowing when I was gonna be at home, and feeling so like out of the loop, like everything was out of my control. So I just kind of had to let it happen and just be patient. And it was different, but yeah, you know, we endured it. I had music to get me through, thank God.
yeah, right. Tell me, where did you write your song Catch Me If You Can? We've been featuring that on the radio all month long. I love it. Where was this song born?
So that song was actually born on the rooftop of my aunt's house in Sudan. One day my whole family just had stuff to do, so everyone left the house and I kind of had the house to myself. So I took my laptop and my phone and my notebook and my headphones and just went up to the rooftop. And I actually just saw a video of a video I took in the moment of like the vibe and the scenery. And there's like birds flying over, and it's just like, it was a super liberating time because I was like with my family so much that was a time where I got to just kind of like relax and explore and express myself. So I wrote that on the rooftop of my aunt's house in Sudan, and I actually ended up finishing it in Egypt and shot a music video, you know, like at the pyramids and on the Nile and everything. And so it kind of, and then the next part of my journey was just constantly moving. So I think it definitely all related to, like, it all kind of flowed throughout, like how the pieces were put together. So
yeah. Oh, that's so inspiring. And before we go, tell us about Freedom Waves. This is your brand that you have.
Oh yeah, Freedom Waves, you know, it's the
So
wave, it's the movement. Freedom Waves is basically it's a global movement, and the idea is to find your purpose through combining your passions, your what you can get paid for, what the world needs, and what you're good at, and kind of like this balance of everything that society tells us we need. We need to make money, but we want to help other people. But this is more like holistic, because then we get to tap into our passions and our pursuits. So Freedom Waves is really just this global movement of like, what's your way? What makes you feel free? And how could that liberate others? How does that create ripples of change, a positive change to inspire others to either impact their communities in a positive way or uplift themselves or the people around them? So Freedom Waves is just it's a whole movement.
It is a whole movement. It's a whole vibe. And with 10 seconds left, who's an artist that you're really into right now that you think needs more support?
MTG, She's right here. Amazing Latina rapper. I don't know how to switch the screen, but right here.
Send us the music.
Incredible rapper, bilingual, multilingual, Latina, Aztec queen. So I definitely think she's an artist I would support and definitely highlight. So
Well, have her send us your music. I'll email you about it later. And thanks for joining us and being our first chance. We'll go through.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everything you're doing for the artists. It's amazing. So
cool. Well, up next, we have a masked artist. We've got Serval coming in right now. Hey, Serval.
Hey.
So I've been known to love a masked band, which, by the way, RIP Daft Punk. Since I don't know who you are without your mask on, have we met ever in public?
We've never met, no.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Because at first, when I got your music sent to me, I was like, could this be Kid Astronaut? But then I was listening to your voice and I knew it wasn't. But anyways, I'm glad we've cleared that up. So you debuted last year, and I remember getting the press release about you. Talking about like being dystopian pop, you're a music producer as well. So I was really drawn in initially. Tell me about your music journey over this last year so we can get to know you more.
Yeah, so I kind of refined the sound that I was looking for. I'm super inspired by that era of kind of early 2000s, late 2000s pop, kind of like the production on Sierra's Fantasy Ride.
Yeah.
And what Danger and Timbaland did for like the Britney records, where you're having these in very intricate kind of rhythm sections, and also super inspired by the rave scenes of the 90s, like Underworld and all that. And so I think bringing those together was kind of where I started the project from. See if I can bring these two worlds together.
Yeah. Did you make music before starting this project up?
I'd always made music in kind of private.
Tell me about signing to the French label, Kitsune Music, right?
Yeah, so I dropped Unavailable, and it caught the eye of their CEO, and one thing led to another, and then they wanted to license and dual release that second single, Bodies in Motion. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of have a working relationship right now.
How did you get connected with this French label?
They reached out to me,
mm-hmm.
and it was a dream because I've always adored Kitsune.
Mm-hmm. I know you're working on this EP during the pandemic that you're going to be putting out later this year, right?
Yeah, it'll be out in the summer.
What's been inspiring your sound lately? Has it been mostly other music, or has it been your experiences throughout this last year?
I think it's a feeling more than a style.
Yeah.
Like I know exactly where I want it to go. And I also want to really fuse it with like strong songwriting, and we're about to record a video soon in like the next 2 weeks for the next single, and it's wild.
You haven't recorded a music video yet, right?
Nope.
And what's going to make this wild? Can you share?
There's a whole kind of theme of extinction running through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it has this wild sped up bass line, by which I worked on with Yanbre, who's also a local musician here. I sample some of his track. I forget the title right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a vibe for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. And you haven't performed live yet either, right?
No, we're working on that.
I'm excited to see what's next for you. And as we get ready to wrap up our question that we're asking everybody, who's an artist that you're really into right now that you think needs more support?
Sevdaliza out of Iran.
Okay.
She makes some incredibly innovative music. She's like basically our generation's Portishead.
I want to hear that voice. I mean, I can imagine what her voice is like. Does she sing mostly in English or?
Sometimes, but she can fuse it too, and it's just so. It's amazing what she does, and she does not get the acclaim she deserves.
I'll have to check her out. Well, hey, thanks for joining us in the local 303 meetup. We're going to pop to our next artist. We're going to be speaking with Atomga. And thank you so much, Serval. It's really cool to meet you.
You as well.
Thanks.
All right, so we're going to be speaking with Atomga out of Fort Collins, and we have Lachey and Frank from the band here with us today. Guys, welcome to the Local 303, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. How are you?
Thanks for having us.
All right, nice to meet you guys. Nice to see your faces and everything. So talk to me. Atomga has a lot of different influences, and so I want to hear kind of about who you guys all listen to, maybe just the two of you at this point, but who influences Atomga and how does it all come together into one sound?
Yeah, well, I could probably start that off, and I know Shade has a lot of different influences as well. We started out 10 years ago. We're about to celebrate in April 10 years of being a band. But we started out really wanting to pay homage to Fela Kuti. And when I had first moved to Denver, we just, I was looking around town and there was a few people playing some Afrobeat, but not a whole lot of it going on. And so we really were following that. So our foundation, a lot of it is, it has got that type of Afrobeat, core to it. Now what we do on top of it, because of our wide range of musicians with all different influences, I mean, we might do some hip hop grooves over it, or some rock grooves, or funk, or like really anything goes. Shay, what I know you definitely have something to add to that.
Yeah, we pull a lot from funk, a lot from reggae. Some people don't like to say that as a part of the project, because we kind of try to veer away from reggae and stick with Afrobeat. But yeah, Afrobeat, funk, a little bit of jazz, some rock shows up. It's a good time, and it is very interesting to be a part of such a full project, because we have so many musicians, and musicianship for me is like band camp, when band camp comes to life. So you get to go and you get to merge all of these personalities and genres that the personalities have into your music. And I would say the main influence again for us is funk and Afrobeat.
Well, and that's an interesting point you bring up, is having this like live band camp feel. So tell me about writing music with this many musicians and that many influences and tastes.
It just depends on what we're writing, and we do allow space for uniqueness. So someone might, anyone could be the light switch to a song, and you come in and you say, oh look, I got these lyrics, what do you think about that? And it's like, oh well, it has this feel, so let's try this. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but most times it does, because we entertain the space of freedom. We want everybody to be heard. So we'll try to make a good gumbo out of whatever comes up. If it's the bass player that comes in with a song, that, we're going to follow that person's lead. And sometimes it's interesting though, because there will be moments where it's like, no, that's not what I was trying to translate. So how can we get back to that? And then because there's so many personalities, it might go off into a whole nother genre. And it's like, okay, here's the root, whoever was the person who bought the idea, the seed, to the garden, then it's then each of our job to cultivate it in our own way and water it and weed away things that don't belong and introduce new ideas.
Well, I would imagine that would inspire, even if you're not going on the right, the path that the person was intending, that might create other new songs or new inspiration.
That's right. That's right.
And do you also get inspired while you're on stage? I know some bands, when they are, when they're warming up and just kind of jamming around, it's like, oh, there's actually a couple of new songs in there. Does that happen to you guys also?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. For me personally, inspiration comes from anywhere. And there's been times that I've been on stage where I've written a funny song right then and there, according to what has happened. Matter of fact, our song, Which One Are You?, is a funny inside joke with all the members of the band. And, it just came out I already had words to the situation that happened. So I was able to bring my words and kind of contort them to the situation that happened so that we all got the inside joke. And now it's a wonderful, fun song. And that is our latest release. Which one are you?
Right. And we talk about being on stage. You guys have opened for some pretty notable acts. So tell me, maybe each of you choose one that really stands out in your memory of like, oh, wow, we got to open for so-and-so.
Oh, go ahead, Shay.
Excuse me. My favorite, of course, was Seun Kuti, and that's because that was the first performance I got to do with Atomga. Before I joined Atomga, I used to go and listen to them and party. I would come to their shows and just party and hang out because that's what Atomga did, was bring the party. So opening for Seun Kuti, that was my favorite because it was a nice party.
So actually, I was going to say the same thing. He's amazing. He's an amazing individual, and we've become real good friends with Seun, and we've also, Femi Kuti. But probably one of my favorites was March 4th Marching Band. Just the whole entourage. I mean, I don't even know how many people that band has in it. Probably like 20 people, and they start outside the venue, but they were super cool. They're really nice people, and they've got great music and a lot of energy on stage. And so it was really fun to support them.
Oh yeah, those guys are great. And before we get to our performance with Mawule, guys, tell me an artist who you guys are listening to that you think deserves a little bit more support that we should know about.
I think a couple of our friends are in a band called Los Mocachetes.
Okay.
I love those guys. They're so funky and fun and jazzy, and I just love seeing them. Just great energy.
Yeah. I agree with that, Frank. Also, I would say Lucky Day. He's very soulful. And I think he's out of Chicago. And locally, it's Zanib. I got to see you open up for Jadena. I believe that was at the Fillmore, and that was the first time I seen you. And you pulled out your violin and you started doing your thing. And I was like, ooh, child. And I'm sure she remembers I had to come up to her after the show and just get some of that good juju energy, girl. So keep doing what you do. I'm so glad that you're still doing it.
Oh my gosh, I love this local love. All right, well, I'm gonna
get
over to Alicia, and we're gonna get to know Mawule a little bit better. Atomga, you guys, thank you so much, and thanks for letting me get to know you better.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys. This is so much fun. This is why I feel so lucky to be able to curate the local 303, is to spotlight and celebrate all of our talented music scene and just hear the connections and everything. This is just so special to me. I've got Ebenezer, a friend of mine over the last, I guess, almost 4 years since we met when you performed at the UMS for us. Hi.
Hello. Great to be here.
I know, long time no see. It's good to have a little video connection time with you since we only see each other on social media, I feel like,
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. You've been so busy right now. You're keeping busy since the pandemic began. You started up a record label and a music company, and you've also released 1 or 2 new singles of your own music. So let's talk about your music first. What's going on with your career right now?
With my career right now, so I spent the past like 3 years just recording projects after project. So I'm sitting on a lot of projects, a couple with Kid Astronaut, Tatanka, Coda, just a bunch of local artists. And so really that's my goal, is just to put out those records.
Yeah, so you're sitting on a lot of music right now. And why has it been taking a while? Are you just waiting for the right time to drop them, or?
Not necessarily. I think, there's a lot to the industry.
Yeah.
That independent artists, I would say a lot of independent artists don't know. And so I just took time and just studied in the ins and outs of the industry. And I felt like, once I knew exactly, how record labels operate, how they move music, how they market and all of that, then I wanted to release a new song. And so that's when I ended up dropping Red Light, when I felt ready to actually start utilizing the same systems that record labels use.
So talk to me about this shift that you did. You started studying how record labels run, and then you've now started up kind of your own agency. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so I decided to start up my agency once I felt like I knew how the industry worked. I wanted to find a mentor. And so I ended up landing a mentor in Eddie Blackman, who is the senior director of A&R at AWOL and Cobalt. And so once I landed him as a mentor and, feeling like I had somebody I could go to ask questions and someone to help guide me in the right direction, then I felt like, okay, cool. I want to start my own label, not only to represent my own music, but also support local indie artists or anyone that just wants to utilize my connections, my network to get to where they want to be with their career.
Yeah, I've noticed, name drop some of the local artists you've been working with through this.
So Brittany Jane is,
Love her.
my sister. Me and her have been working together for a long time. And she's so talented, definitely a local artist that needs a lot of support. And so I brought her on my team under management. And then also 303 Elijah, he's 19, not really known on the scene at all. So he's a fresh new artist that my team and I are really developing and grooming.
Oh, that's exciting. And when should we expect music from 303 Elijah?
So 303 Elijah, we're actually hitting the studio this Saturday to record his first EP. And so we're looking to drop his first single in June. So that's the target right now. So yeah, that's when we're doing that with 303. And then Brittany Jane also has a new single that we were actually trying to sell to a bigger artist, but we're on hold and have decided to release it as our next single. And so that's gonna come out in June, July as well. So those are the timelines for those two records.
Well, that's all exciting, and best of luck with that. Now, you've lived in Colorado ever since you were 10, originally from Ghana, right? Yeah. Now you're going to make a huge move and head out west to Los Angeles. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so part of the company is that we've gotten really involved with sync licensing. And so the side of the company that does sync licensing is Mawule Music Sync. And so I've been working with the local artists, Kid Astronaut being one of them, pitching music to VH1 shows and all of that. And so the move to LA is really to position myself to really enhance and build on what I'm working on right now. Since LA is kind of where a lot of the connections are and a lot of the partners that I've been working with, they're all located in LA. Even though it's the pandemic and everything's been working virtually, I just want to be there just so I can take more advantage of what I'm building. And then also, when it comes to networking, that's kind of like the gateway to the industry. So I just want to position myself in a good position to build out the company more.
Well, very cool. All right, before you perform a song for us, because I asked you if you would perform your latest single, but our question of the hour for everybody, who's an artist that you're really into right now that you think needs more support, more recognition?
Yeah, so I recently actually connected with this artist as a client, and rap is Martial Art is his artist name. He's bringing back old school hip hop, and Martial Art is his brand. So if you check him out, you'll notice that this brother, like you look at him and you might think he's like the next Black Panther because he got the look, he got the moves and everything. And so yeah, I definitely think he's an artist that needs a lot of support.
Very cool. And for those that are watching the live stream and for all of us here in the Zoom, I'm going to write down all these artists and I'll share it on social media so we can check out all these recommendations because I'm so excited to dig into that later this evening. All right, Mawule, I'm going to go on mute. I'm going to let you perform. You can set this up.
Cool. So my song Simple is a fan favorite. So I want to perform that one. Let me know if we can hear it. Nah, I need it. Gotta let me know.
Ain't trying to waste no time, no. 3 simple words, you should go. Pack your bags, please leave out the door. No questions, nah, that's a waste of time. Heard once, heard twice, ears heard enough. Ready, set, go, don't gotta count. Been on, moved on to the next one. She the best one, fine as wine. Sweet, beautiful view, morning sun. I'm a seeker, caught me a keeper. I'ma keep her, goalkeeper. I got one life to live, only got one life to give. Life is so simple. Life is so simple. Don't waste any time. Don't lose your mind, better know. Life is so simple. Life is so simple. Now I need it. I gotta know. Tick tock says clock, move along. No regrets, gotta move on. Did right, no wrong, why you holding on? She took so long, forward march it on. Don't turn your back, gotta be strong. Life is short, please pass it on. Live, love, and laugh, keep loving on. Days, nights all long, you never know. When kingdom comes, heaven only knows. Forgive before you gotta go. Live life, spread love, lotus flower bomb. I got one life to live, only got one life to give. Life is so simple. Life is so simple. Don't waste any time. Don't lose your mind, better know. Life is so simple. Life is so simple. Things happen for the better, sometimes worse. Take a moment, think it through, let it sink in. Lesson learned, gotta grow, know you got a choice. Remember that you only live each day once. Things happen for the better, sometimes worse. Never know when you reach end of the road. Head up for the signs that will shine through. You only got one life to live. I got one life to live, only got one life to give. Life is so simple. Life is so simple. Don't waste any time. Don't lose your mind, better know. Life is so simple. Life is so simple.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Thank you for performing so much. We're all clapping. I know it's weird in
Thank
Zoom,
you.
but it means a lot. It truly does. Thank you so much. And let's keep the Local 303 virtual meetup rolling. Bruce, you can take it away with our new friend, Joshua.
Joshua Darren, originally from Alabama, but now in Fort Collins. I got all the Fort Collins babes this afternoon, which is great. Joshua, nice to meet you.
Hometown.
Nice to meet you guys. Thank you for having me.
Being here. So we have been listening to Who I Am, which is your latest single. And I want to talk about your influences real quick because you had mentioned them on your Local 303 bio over at indie1023.org. Influences from Big Crit to Outkast to Billie Eilish. And you had mentioned it because all of these artists are very easily recognizable. Once you hear the music, you know exactly who they are. Is that something that you are also trying to do for your music, instantly recognizable and kind of standing out from the crowd?
Yeah, I would say so. I think when I first started doing music, I was so obsessed with trying to like duplicate other people's sounds and not really having an idea on who I was and who my voice was. So as I started listening to more and more artists like Billie Eilish and Black and people of that nature, I realized like you hear their music, you hear their songs, you know exactly who they are, you know exactly what their style is. No matter how different, no matter the different type of style that they implement, you know who they are. And so once I really got that into my head, I wanted to do the same. So when people hear my music, they're not like, oh, he sounds like, X, Y, Z, but instead they're like, okay, that's Josh's music. I know that voice from anywhere. I know those voice inflections. I know his sound. I know the type of music that he's going to pick. And so that's really my motivation is to be different, but also build off the foundation that I've already kind of gotten from my inspirations.
Definitely. And all of these inspirations, they have their own sound, but they're also kind of in a bunch of different genres, kind of can blend in with a lot of different folks as well. Is that also something that you're trying to do? And which genres specifically do you try and emulate the most? And which ones are you kind of like, I'm going to try and experiment with that this time?
Yeah, by nature, I'm a person who likes to experiment already. And so I have so many different influences from so many different genres just growing up. Like my father likes old school music. So we have like Lady Williams, but we also have Bootsy Collins playing in the house. And then moving kind of up generations, my mom's really big into Mariah Carey. I tended to follow from like John Legend and Anthony Hamilton. But I also really love pop music. So Flume and Bishop Briggs and all, that alternative style. Yeah, I will experiment with anything if I feel like it's something that I can make, because you really honestly never know what kind of sound you can create if you don't stay in a certain genre. I typically like to think that I fall somewhere between pop and R&B, and that's where I'd like to be. But like I said, I really will try anything just because I love making music. And so I just get joy from just being in the studio and recording.
Definitely. I also liked in your bio, you talked about making music throughout 2020 and throughout all of the Black Lives Matter protests and all the injustices that happened last year. You looked to different artists that had also made music during tumultuous times. So tell me about different folks that you looked to last year while you were making your music and were like, no, I got to keep doing this. Because you had also mentioned music is healing. So talk a little bit more about making music last year.
Yeah, I think in January, February, I said I was going to take a break for a second just to kind of reset myself, not wear myself out and not really hit any walls. March happened and it feels like everything started rolling downhill from there. And I just, in the process of doing a lot of research on Black history, I saw that so many Black artists, especially, continue to make music through times like these. Some of them with very strong messages, some of them with other types of grooves and everything. But and I felt that I should continue to do that too, because I really do think that creating something that other people can ingest really does give them an opportunity to kind of escape from what's happening in society, whether it's educating or just giving them something else to think on. And so that was really my motivation. So I started trying to do a song a month, a song every 2 months. And I think I'm going to try to continue doing that into 2021 because I've just grown so much as an artist since last year.
Yeah, continuing that practice. And before I let you go, asking all of our artists today, who are you listening to right now that you think deserves more ears on their music?
There's one artist from, I believe she's from Philly, Aria Blue. She is phenomenal. She's kind of low key, still independent, but she makes phenomenal R&B music that I think everybody should be listening to.
Aria Blue, awesome. Well, Joshua, thank you so much for joining us. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for having me.
All right, I'm going to hand things back to Alicia.
I will mention Joshua is a great follow on Twitter. He's always bringing like some loving, dropping some loving knowledge on there. It always makes me feel good. Well, up next, we're going to be meeting and chatting with LS. Do we got him here?
Yep.
Here you are. Oh, hello. Hey, so tell me a little bit about your story. I know that you are inspired by like 90s R&B. That's kind of the music that was playing when you were growing up and everything.
Right.
So when did you know that you wanted to start doing music and being a producer and writing your own?
I mean, the 90s vibe, came just from growing up. My mom used to play all the slow jams back in the day, Boyz II Men and Jodeci and Drew Hill and Babyface. And so I always was able to like sing from an early age. And so as time went on, I got more and more confident about it. And then through playing in church, I used to play drums for church or whatnot. And so I slowly gravitated to like trying to learn how to create. And then by the time I got to high school, my mom bought me this cheap keyboard one year just to mess around with. And I was able to just create songs. I could sing the notes and then match it with my hands. And the rest is history. After that, I started making songs. And next thing you know, in about 4 months, I had a whole CD done of original music, lyrics and everything. And then I just rode with it.
Oh, that's so inspiring. Was your music when you wrote your first album and such, or these first songs, was it religious or not?
So I had like a mixture.
Yeah.
Um, because of my upbringing, it was easy to kind of get that kind of inspiration as far as the gospel's perspective. But nothing has ever been easier than writing like the slow jam. You know, like that legit. After date night's over and you take it to the bedroom, like that's like home base. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like one of my calling cards, as people heard on my couple of tracks that were featured. It was, you know, that's kind of like home base for me. That's easy peasy. Just sit down and next thing you know, it's a hit kind of vibe. So
I'm here for that. I wrote you like fan mail months back where I'm
right,
like,
right. Much
I'm a
appreciated.
big fan. Well, what's going on with you in 2021 now that we're here? Like, what's your plan musically? You have these few singles out right now.
Yep. So actually, I have, so me and the other gentleman on the Give It To You track, Farrakhan, me and him are actually teamed up again for the Body remix.
Nice.
And that'll be coming out here pretty soon. We're doing got a video for that coming. Another artist that's actually featured on here, my guy Ameezy, me and him have a song that I produced called 21. So you have to look out for that.
Okay.
It hasn't came out yet, but we're putting that together. And then I have another track by another local artist that I do a lot of music with. His name is Macado from the Park Hill neighborhood. So it's got like this neo Jeezy kind of vibe. So I got some stuff up my sleeve for sure.
Is the song you did with Ameezy, is it radio friendly?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. You'll have to send it to me.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna let you have it. Yeah,
I was razzing Ameezy because some of the songs that I love of his, the content really isn't good for radio. I wish he was here so I could tease him about it. But all right, answer our question that we're asking everybody.
Sure.
About who's an artist that you're into right now that you think needs more support.
So I know a lot of people went locally, and there's a lot of great artists here that I've collabed with and done a lot of things with, but I'm gonna go someone that's not necessarily from here, but is definitely still due some great playtime. He goes by the name of Tone Stith, like auto tone and then Stith. And he's had a couple of hits. He's toured with a couple people, but he hasn't really broken through the mainstream yet. He's still kind of hanging around in the underworld there. But he's got a crazy range. He's got like Mike Jackson range. He plays guitar like Prince, and super dope R&B artist. So I definitely would suggest people to get their playlist with a couple of Tone Stith tracks.
Cool. Well, hey, LS, I'm so glad we had this chance to connect right now. And I know these are all bite-sized interviews, but everybody that's here, we sure love you, and we'll keep connecting with you more in the future. And maybe when we get back into the studio one day, we can.
I'd love it. I definitely would love to come through, and I appreciate the time.
And keep writing the slow jams.
Oh, yeah.
All right, up next, we got Wellington Bowlings.
Hello. So good to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's so great to finally have you here on Indie 102.3. So you just released a new album this past summer called Because I Can. So tell me about this release. We've been hearing a couple of the songs from it here this month on the Local 303.
Yeah, definitely. So Because I Want To is a collection of songs that I accumulated over the course of maybe 3 years or so. And I didn't step into the project with a specific theme in mind, but one thing that I came to the realization of is that each song started to, the underlining theme of it was kind of like about uplifting people and self-empowerment, and a lot of the many different experiences that I had gone through that were very personal, that kind of came organically in this project. And Because I Want To is all about really going for what you want in life and living your dream and not taking no for an answer. And I felt like I was at a point in my life where I was ready to take that step, and everything that I was creating was going to be in alignment with that. And yeah, so that's kind of how Because I Want To came about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said because I can. Sorry about that. My notes.
Oh no, it's okay.
Because I want to.
Close enough.
How long
Yeah.
had you been writing these songs? And like, had it been a couple of years and you were kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna put all these out now?
Yeah, so I'm always writing songs. So it's like these particular songs, some of them came a little bit later, and then some of them I had been writing for a while. So the whole project and the creative process came quickly for me, actually. So the songs came pretty fast. But the rest of the project, like having to do everything on my own financially and kind of figuring out how I was going to make the rest of the project happen, took a lot longer than I expected. But the songs themselves, I had been writing for a while, and then some of them just came to me right away. So it was a very organic process.
All right, and you were also on the cover of Westward right when this came out as well. Like, I remember that happened. So tell me a little bit more about like putting out the album, getting onto the cover of Westward, because that's Denver, that's big Denver stuff here. So tell me more about like releasing the album and the reception after you got it.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. I did not expect that at all. But yeah, the whole process of releasing my first project during a pandemic was very interesting, to say the least. I had all these expectations, as you do when you're releasing a project, of like, okay, you know, I'm gonna release it this way. I've got a marketing idea. I've got the promo, all of that stuff. And it just didn't fall in line the way that I thought that it would, you know, along with so many other things during this time. So I was kind of struggling with that. And then, you know, I get on the cover of Westward and I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. There's something. So that felt really exciting, and it was a big surprise for me. So I enjoyed that.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing that and feeling so proud for you. So tell me about like what you'd like to do next. I know we're still in the pandemic, but is like pie in the sky, if you could do whatever, any type of show or something here in Denver to celebrate your release, where would you want to do it? Who would you want to work with? All of that good stuff.
Oh yeah, I really want to celebrate. Like, this is just not what I was thinking, but yeah, celebrating. There are so many great venues in the area. I had a show set up at the Soiled Dove. I love that venue. So I'd probably reach out to them again. They also have just great sound. So really love that venue. I'm actually working on a new project right now. So I've got a lot of songs that I'm trying to get ready for a new release. And I've got a new song titled Flame, which is going to be released at the end of this spring, along with a music video. And it's all about empowering and celebrating Black people and their beauty and resilience, and really talking about the beauty and power within Black people, not so much always going at it from the angle of being a victim. And so that's going to be released at the end of May, probably.
Awesome. All right, we're going to keep an eye out for it. And before I hand things back over to Alicia, who is an artist that you're listening to that you think that everyone needs to be listening to right now?
Oh gosh, there are so many amazing artists that need more support. I have a deep love for Leanne LaHavis, who she's from England, and I just think that she is an incredible artist. Her songwriting, her voice, her guitar skills, everything is just very high level. I'm really surprised that she isn't more famous. So I would say Leanne LaHavis, yeah.
I would agree with you. She just released her third album and everyone should check it out.
So good.
All right, Wellington, so nice to talk to you. I'm going to hand things back over to Alicia and we're going to get to know Duke Justice.
Awesome.
Hello, Duke. Thanks, Wellington.
Thank you.
So, Duke, hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. When did you move to Colorado?
I've been here for, I don't know, maybe like 5, 6 years, something like that. Not that long, but long enough to kind of figure it out a little bit.
Yeah. Had you done music before? Because okay, so I guess I should preface this by saying
Yeah.
January was when you put out your debut single,
Right.
Under your own name.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Have I heard of you before you dropped your debut?
Yeah, I mean, well, I was in a band here called All Chiefs that was like fairly, I'd say mediumly popular here. We did like UMS and we headlined Westford Music Showcase one time and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of how I got established a little bit around here. And then, yeah, but this was the first time I'd done anything solo. And the previous to that, I just been playing music my whole life, but I've always been like playing guitar or playing piano or writing and stuff. And this is the first time I ever just tried to go for it.
I love it. I feel like it's paying off. Like
Yeah.
I'm really connected with your 2 singles that you've released.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's really weird. It's hard. It's kind of like, this is coming from band stuff. And I think I was so kind of like a little bit turned off of band stuff because it's, it's like having 5 girlfriends that have 5 girlfriends. It's just crazy. Like you're just trying to get your schedule and your timing and stuff. And then, I like trying to figure out a little bit more stuff about like licensing and publishing. It's like I try to get everybody all that together on one page with that is just so hard. But then when you're doing it by yourself, it's just vacuum, it's like every decision I can't be like, oh, is this vocal work here? Is this like, it's just, all right, well, I guess I'll try it and see how it goes. And so it's an exercise in trust. It's an exercise in kind of getting out of your own way. It's a lot of that stuff. And I think that's, what artists and musicians are trying to really do anyway. So it's been good. Yeah.
I know that somebody can work on a song for up to, decades or whatever.
Right.
How many hours, like for your first, like with your first single, do you think you put into working on it?
Oh God, it's gotta be like an insane amount of time. Like, yeah, and also like I'm just one of those people, like it takes me an hour to buy macaroni and cheese. Like I have to like look at like every little like thing, so like, yeah, perfection is the enemy of great sometimes. So you have to kind of cut yourself off. But yeah, it's hours. I'm pretty meticulous about this stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what's on the horizon? Like paint a picture for your musical journey for this year. So we have 2 singles from you. Are you gearing up for a record release? You had tell me.
Yeah, so I've got the 2 singles coming. I've got another one coming next month. It's called Chasing Hollow Points. Basically, I'm going to do one a month here for about this next year. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much just because I have so many different styles I'm trying to kind of try and get into and stuff. So like I said, it's always kind of a test and doing things like that. So, and I also kind of want to just show everybody the range, and then I'll probably put together in like an EP or an album and stuff like that. And as live shows get back into it, I'll do stuff like that. I've got the first kind of big electric show booked at Lost Lake in April, on April 16th. So come check that out. But yeah, it's just, I just plan on just kind of keep moving forward. And also I'm trying to get a lot of stuff where I'm writing with other people and connecting with other people. And I really want to say, like, I've listened to everybody's stuff on here since this whole thing has happened. You guys are also like amazingly talented. It blows my mind. And thank you guys for providing a space where we can do that and connect and putting us on the radio. It's so nice to hear like a band you love, and then 2 seconds later you're hearing your song, and it just makes you feel like, accepted. And that's a beautiful thing. So congratulations to everybody, and everything just sounds really good, guys.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Thank you. And okay, so who's an artist that you think we all need to know about?
Oh, this is a tough one. I got a lot of local guys that I love. I'll just go, I'll look at a few. Patient Zeros is one of my favorite bands around town. Dabney, they're fantastic. Caitlin Williams is fantastic. Avery J, he's one of my favorites. That's my homie. K-Pora. I mean, I'm missing like a billion of them, but just, just keep doing it, guys. Keep making good music.
I love how diplomatic you are. Like when I asked you on the 303 like questionnaire, like name dropping artists, you're like, not gonna do it.
It's hard. I like a lot of it. I'm a big fan.
Great to connect with you, and it's awesome having everybody here. So we're going to be talking with Jeff up next. Jeff is Kingdom, Message to the Mayor Supergroup. Bruce, you're going to be talking with him about this incredible song that he and the gang collaborated on.
No kidding. Jeff Campbell is Kingdom and kind of the mastermind behind Message to the Mayor, the group, and the song. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, actually, I'm not Kingdom. I actually go by the name Apostle on the Kingdom is Jeffrey McWhorter. Like we're both Jeffs, so it's easy to mix us up.
That was my fault. I'll get out, but that was my fault.
No, but great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this project and this song. The message is clear enough. Message to the Mayor, talking about the homeless sweeps that are happening here in Denver. How did this song come together? How was it written with all of these amazing artists that are involved?
Well, I'm the founder of a project called From Allies to Abolitionists, which is a grassroots effort to engage folks into that are new to activism to facilitate the growth of boots on the ground organizations that do the real work with people that are new to activism, connecting the volunteers. And we had released a public service announcement about stopping the sweeps. And we called for stopping the sweeps to provide safe outdoor space and to provide bathrooms and sanitation for people experiencing homelessness during COVID. We know that that is the short-term solution, and we understand that the long-term solution is, permanent housing first before you deal with problems like, for example, mental illness or addiction. So giving people a place to stay. So we were circulating our public service announcement. We're just having trouble getting the word out. And so I leaned back into my old school skills, and I reached out to some folks to do the project. I started with Mike Coates, who was the producer of the I Can't Breathe Again single that happened last year in the wake of George Floyd. And I reached out to him, would he make me a beat so that me and the fellas could rock? And he was like, absolutely. So then I reached out to Kingdom next, and Kingdom was absolutely down with it. And then it was Kid Astronaut, Bumpy Chill, and Mr. Sandman. And well, we got together at Get Busy Living Studios. We knocked it out in a day. And the next thing you know, well, we had a hot track on our hands, and we began to circulate it, and it really elevated the issue in the news cycle and helped bring attention to the crisis that people experiencing homelessness are facing.
Right. And so had you worked with all of these artists before? You had mentioned Kid Astronaut, he's a former local 303 artist here, but also all of these other amazing artists here in Denver. You had these connections before, but what was it that was like, all right, I'm going to work with these guys on this song?
Yeah, it was an opportunity for me to work with some folks that I had never worked before in my entire life. And as a matter of fact, Kingdom and I, even battled each other at the DMC battles back in like 2004, 2005 or something. He won, but but it was all good. I was selling cassettes and CD. I earned these whiskers because I used to sell cassettes and CDs out the back of my car. And so, this was an old school thing for us. And so, I reached out to these guys because it was an opportunity for me to work with them all. I admired them the entire time we had our music careers. And it was just an opportunity to reach to some guys that had the skills to really bring this a message across in a very compelling way.
Right. And I would imagine that everybody having their own fan base and everything, that's reaching 5 extra fan bases across the country, across the city at least. And then also I saw the write-up in Westward and kind of across other organizations, which was great. So this single is out now. Do you guys have any other projects that you want to continue working on, or is there going to be anything else with this supergroup specifically?
Well, From Allies to Abolitionists is a collective of grassroots volunteers, but are also artists, videographers. We just released a documentary of the same name, Message to the Mayor, which is available on the Emancipation Theater YouTube channel that you could check out. It's an hour long. We interviewed 6 people who have been experiencing homelessness and were in sweeps. And so they tell their story. Councilwoman Candy Sitibaka is in the documentary as well. And so From Allies to Abolitionists concentrates on 4 areas: economic justice, which is this one, criminal justice, health equity, and education transformation. So we focus on those areas, and we invite all artists to participate and add their skills, their talent, their knowledge, and their experience to these particular issues. I'll say about these guys, we brought these guys together. They didn't need to be prompted about the issue of people experiencing homelessness. They were close to the street, they were close to the issue, and they just spoke from the heart, and that was beautiful. And these are my fellas. And now that we did this, they're like, okay, so we got to do the next one. So they're ready to do it again. So keep tuned in, because we will be bringing some more heat, for city government. We were going straight at city government because we want to see, Denver being the beautiful world-class city that it's supposed to be. And, we feel like in order to do that, we as citizens, as artists, have the ability to hold our city government accountable.
I love it. All right. So before we go on to our next interview, who is an artist that you think that we should all be paying attention to?
Hands down, Kayla Marquis. Kayla Marquis, Kayla Marquis, Kayla Marquis, Kayla Marquis, that voice, that sensibility of her songwriting. She is an amazing human being, and I love her to death, and I'll ride for her all day.
Well, speaking of Kayla Marquis, she's actually a part of this next group that we're going to be talking to. Jeff, thank you so much for talking with me and talking a little bit more about this project. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to be talking with Carl Carell, 1/3 of the Grand Alliance. Carl, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
Perfect. I'm good. I am doing good. It's a good day.
Good. Okay.
I'm the only one here today, though. Kayla and Sorrell's got a little caught up, got too busy this week. So it's just me. I'm here to rep.
That's good. That's good. It's good to see you. So we were introduced to the Grand Alliance last January with Chakra Khan, and you guys, in fact, stopped by the CPR Performance Studio around this time last year to do a CPR Performance Studio session. But a lot has happened since then, including the release of the debut album just last month. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, I do remember the in-studio performance. That was actually our first performance together. So
yeah, I remember that too. It was like, all right, this is all coming together. Kayla had that squeaky jacket and we kept laughing about it. But so tell me about this debut album and finally being able to release it. Had to come out during the pandemic. I don't know if you guys were waiting.
It was, we were actually sitting on a lot of those records for a while. We were supposed to release some of that stuff previously prior to the pandemic, and then play a show prior to the pandemic and kind of kick things off. And a lot of stuff got canceled. I was on the road with the Reminders and with Yasi at the time. And so we were setting all this up, and then the pandemic hit, everything got canceled, came back home. We didn't have any shows lined up after that. So it's like everything kind of just died, and it was hard. It was hard to stay motivated and, keep things going, not knowing what's going to happen, in the future, for especially for live music. And that's where we were trying to get to, especially after recording all these records. And you're at a place where it's like, now you need to transition to, getting things live and getting in front of people. And it's not going to happen because, the world is sitting out. So, but, things happen the way they happen for a reason. And, we went back to the drawing board and polished a couple things, made a few new records, and it came out, and it's out now. It feels good to be able to, have it out there in the world. And yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. And then also at the beginning of this year, not saying we had a hand in it, but you guys were named the 2021 NPR Slingshot Band, and of course now Local 303 Band once again. So tell me about getting the reception of the debut album as well. Oh, also on the cover of Westward with a portrait by Detour 303. Not a big deal.
Yeah, that well, so the portrait thing came about because, you know, Detour's my guy, man. That's like one of my right hand dudes, and he's always doing creative stuff. He's always got ideas. Every time I meet up with him, we're just cracking up and just coming up with all kinds of different you know, ideas, and I'm showing him some of the music and, you know, kind of telling him about this project. And, you know, we kind of dance around with the idea of creating some artwork around it to, you know, kind of tell the story and kick things off. And that, you know, made us really want to get it pressed up. And so we did. Blake Jackson actually took the photography for the actual artwork. So it was a big a local trifecta of artistry that made it happen. And then yeah, the Westward thing kind of just came because, you know, with everything that was going on during the summer, it was pretty crazy, you know, like with the whole you know, all the social injustice issues that were going on throughout the entire world that were just coming to light. And then you know, and then literally the Capitol thing happened like a day, like the day of or no, it was like a couple days before the Westward was going to come out. And so we didn't even know if we were going to be on the cover of the Westward because of that. So yeah, it was just a weird time, but we made it happen. We put music out during this crazy time, and I think that's gonna, like, we're gonna look back on that, and you know, that's like a story. You know, it's gonna be something you'll look back on and be like, wow, I remember that crazy year, crazy time.
Definitely. And it sounds like a lot of this, even among you three, it's all collaborative with Detour, with all of it. And next up is the Armory Sunday stream coming up this Sunday, 7 p.m. Indie 1023 is going to be presenting that. It's going to be on YouTube. What else do you guys have planned for the next couple of weeks?
So the Armory stream for sure, Sunday, that's coming up. That's going to be fun. We haven't performed together in a while. We did do a live stream for The Solution. If you're familiar with The Solution, DJ Low Key, DJ Lazy Eyes. We did a live stream video for them. We're going to probably post that up in the next couple of weeks so that people can kind of get a double dose. We're not going to say when we're going to post it up, so you're going to have to stay tuned for that. Yeah, but you know, the Armory stream, we're looking forward to that, and we're kind of just pushing that for now. We do have some new music that we're going to be hinting at pretty soon that we've recorded, and so there's stuff in the works right now. I can't put it all out there yet, but you know, we've got some records, we've got some visuals, and yeah, we're just working on, you know, making everything better and enjoying ourselves while we're doing it. I feel like that's the major key. You don't want to, once it starts becoming dreadful and work and you're like, oh, I got to go to practice today, or oh, I got to, you know, do this or that, then it's, you know, then it becomes more difficult to function, and that's not what we're about. We're about the good energy, good vibes, and building. So
definitely. All right, Carl, so good to catch up with you. Cannot wait to see what the Grand Alliance has up next. And we're just about done here, so let's like say goodbye to everybody. Carl, thanks for chatting. Thanks to everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks you all. Thanks so much. And thanks for those of you watching the live stream for the February edition of the Local 303. We'll be back on March 29th. And of course, listen to Indie 1023 every day because we be playing all these folks. All right. Thanks everybody for all your sharing your talent with us and everything.
Thank you for having us. This has been fabulous.
Thanks.
for
I can't
having
wait to
us.
see you all someday in real life.
Yes, amen, sister.
Right? We'll see y'all. Thank you.
See you
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye, guys.